So anyway, so what happened after you were sacked? I mean, this was in 2020, right?
Yeah, June. It's June
Yeah.
now, 2020. First week fell apart. My life was over.
I mean, you spent 9 years building this. It was a charity called the Mancunian Way, right? And so you dealt with young people, and what were you doing for young people exactly?
So that was all working on the streets, evenings, weekends, in parks, outside shops, speaking to them, building a relationship, trying to get them into employment, trying to get them to understand that actions have consequences, that if you make mistakes today, they'll have effects in 10 years' time from now. Why are you doing these things? These things are illegal, you may not know. Where do you want to go in your life? Or we can help you get there. So basically being what parents should be doing, but they haven't got parents or those parents, and it's like trying to get them the help and advice they need to make positive informed choices so they can improve their own lives in the direction they want to go.
I mean,
tough work on the streets.
It feels like you're providing a fatherly example to young men perhaps who didn't have fathers in the home.
Yes.
And I can see why you would take exception to Black Lives Matter if that's your mission. And I think it's entirely laudable and the only thing that can be done to help these people at this point.
Yes.
You can't, because the left-wing opinion will be, well, we need to just give them money. It's like, why? What good do you think endless riches are to people who don't know how to handle money? They'll just spend it on drugs, alcohol, and worse. And it will just be frittered away into the pockets of people who are not worthy of having that money.
They're crying out for a purpose in life. That's what they tell us, that they're lost, they're lonely, even though they've got 12 mates around them. They're crying out for purpose.
And so after the board told you were fired, and they didn't give you any reason, just...
No,
right. So yeah, tell me about what happened then.
So first week I was a mess. Then at the end of the first week, I heard a little voice inside saying, "What are you doing? You've just taken this. You need to give yourself that talk you always give young people, which is get up, brush yourself down, take a step forward. Don't be beaten back down again. Move forward. You're better than this." So I had to give myself a good talking to. Then the next day, the Mail on Sunday contacted me because they'd seen what had gone on Twitter. And I thought, perfect. I'll do an article. I'll do an interview. I've got nothing to lose. My life's over. I've got nothing to lose now. So I did that. I joined the Free Speech Union, had a chat with Toby Young. They said they could help. And over a couple of weeks, I did loads and loads of press. Because I knew the trustees were really struggling with the press attention because they were cowards, they were weak people. And then we got a solicitor involved, and he looked at my contract and what I'd said, and said, clear case of breach of contract here, clear case. So we wrote to the board saying, unless you resign, Nick Buckley's going to sue you all personally. And within 18 hours, they'd all resigned.
Okay, and so...
So we appointed a new board, and the new board took me back as chief exec.
Excellent. So you won?
Yes.
Excellent.
I won, but do you know what? No one won.
Yeah. I
lost, the board lost, the children on the streets lost, the staff lost, everybody lost.
Yeah, but unfortunately because I mean, I view this as an ideological attack against you. From a particular, I mean, as you described it, neo-Marxist form of attack on the institution itself. And I think that's totally true. I think, I mean, it's demonstrable that the founders of Black Lives Matter are literally Marxists.
The biggest complaint against me online was, how dare you, as a white man, comment on a black issue?
Right, okay.
That really was the accusation put to me online.
Right. I mean, I would call that racist.
Yeah. I had one woman say to me, I'll take on board all your good work. So that just means you're a compassionate Nazi. And I almost used that. I almost thought I'll have that as my username on social media.
Yeah,
I thought,
best not. But yeah, Nazis famous for their compassion.
Yeah.
Amazing. But it's just, but I mean, how is that not merely racial discrimination? Because they would never say that to someone who wasn't a white man. That's an allegation that can only be laid on your feet because you are white. And so this surely is racism.
Summer 2020 felt like of evolution was coming.
Yeah, it did.
It felt like society was going to collapse. And at that point, you could be called anything anybody wanted to call you, because even the government weren't speaking out. Boris Johnson was silent. There was cowardice everywhere. It felt like the end of days.
I mean, the only person who said anything about the taking the knee was Priti Patel. Of all, and don't get me wrong, good, I'm glad she did, but she objected to the gesture politics of the footballers taking the knee, didn't she? But I mean, why do you think the Conservatives are just so weak on this issue?
I just don't think they understand it.
Really?
I think it's really gone. I think it's 2 years later. I think quite a lot understand it now. But at the time, I think it was brand new to them. That all they could see was, we don't want the hashtag nasty Tories ever again. And if we can just take the knee and, and black people might like us a bit more, than what's the harm? And I just didn't think they understood what was going on.
Hashtag nasty Tories trends every single day on Twitter. Yeah. Every single day. Like, get used to it. Do what Donald Trump did to Tories. Just get used to it.
Yeah.
What did you do after the victory? And I do want to call it a victory, because I think it's important that we do, because we need a bit of remoralization, I think.
Yeah.
They can be beaten.
Yeah.
Because there are actually legal structures in place that do actually protect you from this sort of thing.
Absolutely. 100 years ago, you'd been sacked because you was a Catholic or you was a Jew, and we stopped all that. So why is it any different today?
Absolutely.
So what did I do? I got my job back, and I thought, God, that was lucky. What am I going to do now? And all I could think about was, if I just go back to normal now, then I'm a coward. I'm part of the problem, because I've had some luck. And if I just keep my mouth shut now, my life will go back to being great. And I thought, I can't do that. So I eventually left the charity. And now I'm a full-time campaigner. I come on shows like this. I wrote a book about my experience. And the book is one chapter about what happened to me. But the rest of the book really is about how you can gain courage from your own experiences, because we're in these situations because we have too many cowards and we're too cowardice ourselves. And the book is talking about all the examples in my life, working on the streets with kids, what kids have said, working with the homeless, and personal experiences. I've had a gun pointed at my head. I was smashed over there with an iron bar. And so all these things give you character and give you a reference point in life. And people haven't got the same reference points as me, but they'll have their own. And this book is saying, seek them out yourself, and you use them when people come to attack you, because you're stronger than you think you are. You have more inner strength than you think you have. It's there. You've just got to know it's there and tap into it when you need it. And that's why the book's called Lessons in Courage.
And I tell you what, I think you are exactly right. It's cowardice that is the ruination of this country at the moment. And I happen to be a naturally argumentative person, so I was quite happy to have lots of people to argue with. But I can see it in many other people who, they know it's wrong. They know what is happening. I honestly, I liken it to sort of a fish tank where all the fish are just swimming around, and then like a predatory fish is introduced, and it starts, attacking all of the other fish, and everyone knows that this predatory fish is there, but no one wants to say anything, or no one wants to do anything. It's like, well, that'll just be me. I'll be in the line of fire. It's like, well, okay, but you will be there at some point. If you can't just think that this will, eat you last. And okay, great, it eats you last. So, we could all actually have the courage of our convictions and do the right thing.
It's like that famous saying, I can't remember, I'm sort of paraphrasing now. First they came for the Jews and I said nothing. Then they came for the Christians and I said nothing. And eventually they came for me. There was no one left to say anything. Yeah,
it's got to be done. And again, cowardice is the real problem, because almost all of these problems can be solved by simply having the courage to say no. As in, 400 people on Twitter want you fired. No. Almost all of this is merely about moral, just cowardice and the complete collapse of our own ability to stand up for our own position. And
one of the chapters of the book is about that. It's about someone on Twitter said, "You're writing this book, great, but can you give us some tips? Just don't tell us your story. Give us some practical tips." So one of the chapters 12 tips. So I've ripped off Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. The first tip is just what you said. Start using the word no. Don't explain yourself.
Yeah.
Don't give it, just no. And if they ask why, well, my answer was no.
I just don't feel like it.
Yeah, I did.
It's literally my opinion.
The second one is start looking confident, shoulders back, head up. Because if you look confident, people will treat you as confident and more formidable. When you look like a weakling, you're more likely to get bullied. So stop looking like a future victim. And I talk about if you want, I mean, not everyone has the same confidence or the same strength as other people, or they may have more to lose. You know, they've got a job, and if I lose this job, my life falls apart. I've got 4 kids here. I understand that.
Yeah.
So you can be a ninja, which means you still fight back, but you do it behind the scenes. So it's about sharing something on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's about saying to your boss, that voluntary white privilege training, I'm not going to attend that, thank you. But when it becomes mandatory, you're phoning sick that day and lose a day's pay over it.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a battle, you've got to take punches and bullets.
Yeah.
And then when you got told you turn up next week or you're sacked, that's the day you turn up and do the course. So you've made your defense. Other people have seen what you've done. They'll gain a little bit of courage out. They go, oh yeah, I didn't want to, and I'm glad
I'm not alone.
and I'm not alone.
Yeah.
And then you might still end up doing it, but at least you fought back as much as you can in your circumstances, because what we don't want is martyrs.
Yeah.
We don't want people losing their jobs and lives being destroyed over a training course.
No, you're absolutely right.
Because that won't help anybody. So my phrase now is be a ninja, not a whinger. Do the little bits you can along the way.
Such as supporting your favourite podcast.